guys, Looney here, and welcome to That Crypto Hustle podcast. So super excited about today's guest. Hey Alex, how's it going?
Hey Lina, I'm going good. Thank you for having me.
No, thanks for being part of the show. So guys, I have here Alex Fortin, who's an investor, entrepreneur, and a cryptocurrency enthusiast. He's been in the cryptocurrency space since 2014. He also has a podcast, which is a little bit more about entrepreneurship, but he also talks about cryptocurrency. So I'm super excited to have him on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Cool. Yeah, I'm super excited too.
So, I mean, since you've been around the block, we could say, what's
Around the blockchain.
Yeah, exactly. You've been around the battlefield. What are some of the things that you could tell us about what's currently happening, the boom of cryptocurrencies? Like, why do you think it's happening now, and why do you think it didn't happen maybe like 2 years ago, let's say?
That's a good question. So why is it booming right now? I think it's just a matter of cryptocurrencies it's hard to use it right now. Like Bitcoin has been around just for 8 years. And it was mostly like geek, and you needed to download software, and you had to keep the private keys and everything. So it wasn't ready for mainstream. And now with things like Coinbase, I have so many different companies where you can purchase Bitcoins, and it's getting easier and easier for normal people, normies, to buy Bitcoin. Also, I think one of the main thing is that there's a lot more regulation around it.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people didn't want to be involved with it. A lot of businesses, because they didn't want to be like on the wrong side of the regulator. So by having like more like by the government putting rules in place saying it's legit, it's legal, you can own cryptocurrency, then businesses and like you've seen like mutual funds and they're investing massively now. They're more like secure about it.
Yeah, no, so that's a really good point. The technology is certainly a first factor, right? It's just got a lot easier to trade Bitcoin, and also probably the whole ecosystem around cryptocurrencies, right? So that probably came into play the last 2 years, So what's like the major shift that you've seen, like from what's happening now and like a few years back when you first got involved?
The biggest shift, mainstream adoption.
Yeah.
I think that's, before I would talk to my friend about Bitcoin, just the price of Bitcoin just get people excited. Like I've been talking about Bitcoin forever to my friend, but now the price getting like 16,000, and finally they're like, oh, so how can I buy this Bitcoin thing, right? So, you got a lot of technology. I think right now, a lot of technology we've been talking about for the past few years, like Lightning Network. So that would allow people to do microtransaction on the Bitcoin network, or smart contract on Bitcoin, like it's called Rootstock. And we've been talking about those things for the past few years, but it wasn't ready. But as of today, like the Lightning Network is live on the mainnet. So it's being like you can do transaction on the Lightning Network. Rootstock can be tested on the mainnet also, I believe. And that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing more people working on Bitcoin, but new technology coming out, and I think that's one of the reasons why you see the price increase. That people have confidence that Bitcoin can evolve and get better, because right now it's a little bit limited what you can do with it.
So for people who sort of jumped into the bandwagon too late, and I'm sure you get this question a lot, is it too late for them to purchase Bitcoin? What's your view about that? Obviously Bitcoin's going to continue evolving, and the prices are expected. Who was it that said that it would hit as much as like 100K by the end of next year? I forgot. But would you recommend someone to invest in Bitcoin, or should they start looking at altcoin at this point?
I think they should. I think most people should own some Bitcoins, and that's the thing about altcoins and Bitcoin. Like that Bitcoin would be around in 5 years, but like 99% of all altcoins would be dead in 5 years. So if you do a long-term investment, you have a long-term investment strategies. Investing in altcoin it's very risky, because most of them will be dead, most of them are scams, like, and so but like, at the end of the year, I expect Bitcoin to be, 3 times, 4 times more valuable than what it is, like maybe 50,000 by the end of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And is because you've seen, you have the future that just started trading. I don't know if you've seen that, but 2 days ago, future.
Yes.
Actually, yesterday. And
you can trade it in Wall Street.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and now the New York Stock Exchange will list Bitcoin this year in 2018. Then you have like 8 different ETF, electronically traded funds, where my mom will be able to buy Bitcoin on her retirement portfolio, right? So that's going to happen this year. So that like I was at a conference for a digital nomad. Actually, we're talking about just that, and there was we're 20, 30 of us, and I asked who here own Bitcoins, and those are all techies people. Like they know their business is all online, and there was 2 people.
Wow.
Yeah, out of a 30. I was surprised actually. I was like, wow, I'm shocked. I feel like everybody.
When was
Bitcoin
this? Recently?
Yeah, that was 4 months ago, maybe.
Well, I'm sure if you went back, there probably would be more. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy to know. No, you're absolutely right. It's crazy to know that there's so much reservation, I guess less and less about investing in crypto, because I mean, I guess the big thing is oh, I don't understand it. It's fake money, and I guess there's a lack of understanding of what the future of crypto is and what happens if there's regulations and your money, quote unquote, is stuck in cryptocurrencies. What happens next? But people don't understand there's a whole ecosystem around cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, exactly.
So I guess my question is, because what I've been hearing a lot as well is well, Bitcoin, the main problem with it is that it's really slow and it's not going to allow for daily transactions. And there's competitors like Litecoin is one of them, which allows for day-to-day transaction, kind of like the way we use our MasterCard. So do you think there's going to be a shift at some point where, I mean, right now, Bitcoin's sort of the big one and you need it to trade also altcoins. But do you think there's going to be a shift at some point where Bitcoin's going to become irrelevant?
Yeah, that's a good question, and that's a big debate actually in the Bitcoin world, is the transaction capacity of Bitcoin, because you can only transact. Currently Bitcoin can only allow 3 transactions per second, because there's a block. The block size has a certain limit, like you probably know, and there's just so many transactions that can fit into a block every 10 minutes, and that's the equivalent of about 3 transactions per second, and so yeah, and that's been the problem since the beginning. How can we scale Bitcoin and keeping its decentralized nature? Because if we, one of the idea that was the easiest one to think about is just to increase the block size. Why don't we just increase the block size? But that would create centralization by the idea that right now anybody can run a node. So everybody can participate, validate the transaction themselves on their computer, making sure that when they make a Bitcoin transaction, it's actually recorded on the blockchain, because they can run their own full nodes, and it costs about $150, the equipment and everything to run a node. And by increasing the block size, you increase the cost of running those nodes, which if you had an infinite block size, it could cost tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year just to run nodes. So only centralized database could run those nodes, and so you will lose all the decentralized, all the decentralization of Bitcoin. So yeah, one of the ideas to do the Lightning Network, which is just, as I said earlier, it is live right now on the mainnet, and that's new of last week. So that's defensively, the idea is to keep Bitcoin like it is, small block, decentralized, and then on top of it, just add components like the Lightning Network that allows to do infinite amount of transaction. Then add rootstock, which allows smart contract. without touching Bitcoin. Bitcoin stays, decentralized, agile, because Bitcoin runs currently is it $300 billion market capitalization, and so.
Yeah, so it's funny because like what I'm seeing in a lot of these cryptocurrency groups right now, what's happening is because there's sort of like the gold rush with Bitcoin, and everyone's like trying to buy Bitcoin and then altcoins as well. But there's being delays in the transaction, and also delays with a lot of the platforms that people are using, especially North America, that are to purchase their Bitcoin. And especially when I guess you're trying to trade at a specific time when there's a specific dip, it's hurting a lot of the transactions. Yeah, so it's interesting. Like I mean, I'd be really interested to know like what the whole ecosystem is going to do about these issues to kind of help the consumer, right? And yeah,
because
also, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, because you named Litecoin earlier, and Litecoin, yeah, it's true. It's right now if you do a transaction on Litecoin, it's very fast. It's because no one's using it. If there was the same amount of people using Litecoin than Bitcoin, Litecoin would come to a stop. Same thing, right? Because it's the blockchain. The blockchain is very slow because it's decentralized. Everybody that participates on that blockchain need to validate every single transaction. So, that's why it's very slow.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely a really good point. So I'd love to ask you about sort of the difference, like explaining to us. So it's actually yesterday. Ethereum and Litecoin had quite a huge increase. Can you explain? Why do you think that happened? Like, what's your sort of prediction behind it?
Well, I was looking at some stats, and Coinbase currently is adding tens of thousands of new users every single day.
Wow.
Yeah, they're the most popular apps on the App Store right now.
Which was how they're having so many issues. Everyone's complaining about it in the groups.
Exactly. So that's huge. And the thing is that when you log into Coinbase, the first thing you see is Bitcoin priced at $15,000-$16,000.
Wow.
Then you have Ethereum priced at $600. Then you had Litecoin priced at $200. So people think, oh, what is a cheap currency where I can, they're thinking like, oh, what is the cheap currency to buy? So they buy Litecoin. That's why that's where I see the price of Litecoin going up, because
that's probably what it is. You're absolutely right. I didn't even think about that.
Nobody's using Litecoin. Like there's no no store except Litecoin. There's no transaction being done on Litecoin. And so there's, other than speculation, I don't see any reason for the price to go. I expect Litecoin to come back down as soon as people realize what they just bought.
And so Ethereum, do you think that's like a viable investment? Because it's like the whole structure of blockchain. Like, what's your take on Ethereum?
I like Ethereum because they're taking quite a different path than Bitcoin. Bitcoin tried to keep the block small at any cost. Like they're never going to increase. That's the goal. Ethereum is kind of an in between. They're Vitalik Buterin is ready to increase the block size, but we also want to go off chain. So it's kind of just a middle. And they have smart contract, which is, I believe, the only other utility right now of blockchain technology other than like payment and smart contract. That's pretty much like the two valid use case of blockchain. So, I think Ethereum will still be around in 5 years. I think it's still going to be valuable. There's tons of developer working on Ethereum. So, yeah, I think Ethereum is a good investment. Yeah.
What about the competition, though? Like I heard Lisk might be another platform to watch for because it's run on JavaScript. Versus Ethereum is a much more complex platform. So, do you think that could be a potential risk or no?
No, the thing is that Ethereum already have the network effect. So it's been around for a while, and so to displace Ethereum, you'll have to have a technology that's like 10 times better. That's like way better than what it is. And so people will be like, yeah, like why would I use Ethereum? Like this thing is like 10 times. Then people will start migrating out. But Ethereum can be like transformed. You can add, you can change Ethereum to make it what other are. So you have the network effect right now. Ethereum and Bitcoin are the only two well-developed and maintained platform right now. So, Lisk, I don't see Lisk 3 years being talked about.
Ah, interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
So why? Okay, so I mean, another thing that's really that's increased tremendously in price is IOTA as well, because Microsoft's been involved, and it's more like an object-oriented technology. So can you talk to us a little bit more about that and what you think, what your prediction is for that specific cryptocurrency?
Right. I haven't looked that much into IOTA, but of what I've seen, the involvement in Microsoft with IOTA is quite small. I don't think like, yeah, like I think most of it is mostly noise than actually like Microsoft going to support IOTA.
Yeah, so that's interesting you say that, because I mean that's another thing that's being talked about right now a lot. Is sort of the well investors, right? So people that have so much money that they're able to completely shift the price of Bitcoin or other currencies, and also like all the bump and dumps and whatnot. So like, what's your recommendation for someone who is not a day trader and they're not glued to their computer and want to get some sleep at night? Like, what's sort of like the best bets for long-term investment, and what's the best place to get your source of information? Because like, stuff is all over the place right now.
Yeah, well, I do have a great source of information would be like I have a group, it's called Crypto Investing Pro, and I help people invest in cryptocurrency. But so that's a great place. Other places, you have Twitter, you have Reddit, and BitcoinTalk.org, and different places where you can get information. But yeah, if you're not a trader, it's very easy to manipulate the market, just like you said. I mean, I know people that have bots, and they create bots and they manipulate smart cryptocurrency because they're easy to manipulate because there's not a lot of volume in a day. So if you try to day trade, trading is a zero-sum game. So either you're winning or you're losing. And if you want to win, you need to have an edge on someone else. Like you need to know information that other people don't know. So unless you have access to those information, like don't go trading. You're going to lose. Like it's just. And so, yeah, the best way to not lose sleep at night is just to, I think, buy Bitcoin, first of all. I think, like, Bitcoin will be there in 5 years, and it's going to be vastly more valuable than what it is today. And then you want to take maybe another few small bets just to edge yourself, because you cannot predict the future. But yeah, if people mainly invest in Bitcoin, I think they'll.
Well, I think that's what's scary with cryptocurrencies, and like I mean that's why I'm also fascinated by it, because I mean so something is like I've been involved in the fintech industry on and off for a few years. And obviously, I don't have financial education, right? And so when I look at day trading and I look at the charts and I look at all these YouTubers explaining the charts and like the candlelight and like what everything means, like, first of all, like, I mean, it just shows you the level of knowledge that you need to have in order to make money, right? And I guess what bugs me with what's going on right now is that people are just kind of like throwing in their money without understanding what they're doing. So, I mean, yeah, like it's one thing to sort of like, okay, well, I'm going to do a long-term investment and like keep an eye on the news and like try to be as informed as possible to understand what's happening with my investment, versus people who are going in like having zero knowledge and just like wishing they're going to become millionaires. So like, again, like actually tell us a little bit more about your group. Is it on Facebook, and sort of what are you teaching people right now, and like what are some of the things to look for when you're like seeking for information?
Yeah, so well, the group is just a place where I guide them through this this obscure cryptocurrency world, because it's hard to find information. Oftentimes, the information you watch on CNBC or on the TV, if you're in the nose and you watch them, they have no idea what they're talking about, particularly about cryptocurrency. And now it kind of makes me think, well, they probably don't have no idea what they're talking about in every other subject as well, right? I mean,
yeah, probably.
Exactly, right? So the idea of the group is just that I watch this every hours of every day. That's what I do, is cryptocurrency, so people can just kind of download my knowledge into their brain, so they feel more at ease with the investment and they can sleep at night. And like most people that have been in the group for the last 12 months, did very well. Their investment did very, very well. So Um, but yeah, that's kind of what the group
I
is.
mean, yeah. So I mean, essentially, right. So I mean, essentially, it's just like when you're investing, you need to take into consideration that there's sort of a education gap between you and someone else who's doing day trading or somebody who's been sort of like eating and breathing crypto. And if you want to go that path, then taking into consideration that you do need to educate yourself about like how essentially like looking at a chart and really understanding what to look for and then use to understand how to trade accordingly, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we don't really do day trading. It's more like a long-term investment strategy. So we just buy and hold, we buy a few cryptocurrency and kind of build a portfolio. And so we can sleep at night. Most people have a day job, so they don't have time to just watch the screen and trade every day. So, and me too, I don't want to be trading every day. I just want to, learn
Right.
and do other things.
So what are you the most excited about what's happening right now? Like what makes you like, yeah, what made you so passionate about crypto?
Um, well, what made me passionate about crypto is that I realized that that will take away the power of the bank to just steal like a citizen, and I, I just just the technology of Bitcoin allowing everybody to be their own bank, and you know not being forced to play the stock market to find
Yeah.
risky investment scheme because your money get devalued every year. So if you just hold money in 10 years from now, it's almost worthless because of a bank, government printing money like there's no tomorrow. So yeah, that's what got me interested in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean that's really interesting. Yeah, I mean that's sort of like the main reason, but I guess to be devil's advocate, is that really going to happen? Especially because with Ethereum, I know in fintech, like a lot of these banks and companies are looking to sort of create their own ecosystem, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I think you're right. So I think there's going to probably be two markets, right? The one where people will be able to exchange. I don't know the type of regulations that we're going to see in place, but I mean, I guess for me, I'm more interested about all the ICOs that are coming out as well. No, out of like the cryptocurrency world. Is there any one specifically you're super excited about?
Uh, Not really. I mean, ICO to me are very scammy. Like
Yeah,
90
that's true. Not all, but yeah, I see what you mean.
because I mean 99% of them are it's just a website, and the guy write a white paper, and then they try to raise millions of dollars. And then once they raise the millions of dollars, they have no incentive to do any work. I mean, they're millionaire. I mean, they can just fuck off and like, oh yeah, sorry guys, or whatever, right? And so,
Yeah.
I mean, you need to find a group of people that's so like um, honest and dedicated, and really like money is really not so gonna. They just want to build a revolution. And that's kind of what you've seen with Vitalik Buterin. That's kind of what you see, with Bitcoin right now. And so, and those are quite rare occurrence. So,
So right now, like besides Bitcoin, is there any other like altcoins you're playing with, or you're just like strictly like Ethereum, Bitcoin, perhaps Litecoin? Like what are you playing with?
yeah, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Zcash is great.
Mm,
Zcash, Monero, because they have this, obfuscation of transaction, which is the big problem of Bitcoin. And a lot of people that now are getting into Bitcoin realize this because maybe they buy Bitcoin and they try to, maybe not all declare it or whatever, right? And then they try to do transaction and they realize, oh, this is not as confidential as I thought it was. So Monero and Zcash kind of resolve that for now, but Bitcoin will have confidential transaction. It's in about maybe 3 or 4 years. It's being worked on right now, but until
definitely.
then, yeah.
And so sort of a final question for you as well. So what's a way to sort of keep your cryptocurrency safe? Because I see there's a lot of hacking happening right now. I mean, so yeah, I think it happened as well with BitConnect, but BitConnect is a little shady. Not sure what that's all about. So what's the best way to keep your cryptocurrencies safe?
Yeah, I think Bitcoin is defensively a pyramid scheme.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's what's
like
going around. Yeah.
yeah,
There's a couple other ones that are in the market as well, like Exatron. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't heard of it. No.
Yeah, there's just a lot of different platforms that are coming out, and essentially, yeah, from what I'm understanding, is that they take part of your money to make investments for you with their bots, and then they give you a return based on whatever they want, and then you can reinvest on their platform.
Okay.
Yeah, I
That
don't know.
that's the thing. I mean, now, like me and you, that's a good problem to have, I think, because before you had no investment opportunity because you
Yeah.
needed to be an accredited investor to be able to invest in those type of in startup. Basically, now everybody can do it with ICOs, so it's great. But I think right now there's a lot of noise and very actual work being done. I think it's going to be awesome. ICOs, like there's going to be more and more of those, and this is just a start. But right now I think the choice is not great. But yeah, to protect your cryptocurrency, I think people should have like a hardware wallet so you can control their keys. If they keep the Bitcoin on Coinbase or on an exchange, it will be hacked. Like it's 100% sure those exchanges will get hacked because the bounty is so big. Once a hacker hacked the exchange, he can withdraw. If he succeed in withdrawing Bitcoins or whatever cryptocurrency, there's no way to getting those money back. With banks, they can like.
Is it that easy to hack though? That's insane.
Because the more money there is on an exchange, the bigger the bounty. So now instead of having like just one guy trying to hack it, there's like 20 guys in Russia living in a basement 24/7, just working on trying to hack this one exchange. So
Wow. Yeah, no,
yeah.
that's definitely
So
insane.
just people keep in mind, yeah, if they don't have the private key to their Bitcoin, it's at risk. So yeah, having like a hardware wallet like Trezor or Ledger, those are the one I advise people to have, and they're very secure.
Awesome. So can you just tell us one last time where's the best way to follow you and also your group, like where we can get access to that?
Yeah, well, best place to follow my work is on alexfortin.com. Or on Twitter, people can follow me. But yeah, alexfortin.com, that's where I put my videos, my blog, and they can learn more about crypto investing pro if they want to be part of this group I have. And yeah.
Yeah, and also I want to mention he's super active on Twitter and he gives like really good insights. So you definitely want to make sure to follow him on Twitter.
Yeah, that would be real Alex Fortin. That's my Twitter handle.
I'll make sure to include that in the bottom. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today. I really appreciate it. Please keep in touch.
Cool. Thanks, Luna, for having me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. Please make sure to sign up to subscribe to our YouTube channel, That Crypto Hustle. And every week we interview different cryptocurrency influencers, and make sure to add your question. We also have a group on Facebook, That Crypto Hustle. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.